What course should I study that would guarantee a job here in New Zealand and probably lead to permanent residence pathway? This is a question that I've been asked a countless time, but I don't know why I've been dragging my foot to get this covered. But I'm happy this friend of mine, Chioma, who is trying to emotionally blackmail me, she has prompted me to do this now. Chioma was like, because of I'm not a medical professional, I'm not a nurse, doctor, pharmacist, medical laboratory scientist, physiotherapist, so there is no opportunity for me to migrate, so I die here in Niger. Come off it, darling. That's a bombshell. That's a lie from the bottomless pit of hell. There are courses in long-term shortage skill list in New Zealand. There are not medical professional courses. In fact, pharmacy is not even in long-term shortage skill list in New Zealand currently. It's just in the short-term shortage skill list, whereas the course she studied is even in the long-term shortage skill list. That means she would have a better opportunity migrating here compared to a pharmacist. So all what we need is the information. So this video is for all my followers, all my subscribers, all the people out there that want to take opportunity. They are not healthcare professionals, but think because of they are not into medical profession that they have limited opportunity. It might bust your bubble to know that if your course is listed in the long-term shortage skill list in New Zealand or Australia, that you might even have a better chance or opportunity more than the so-called healthcare professionals, because the healthcare professional bodies are so regulated with heightened requirements that take years, series of exams to happen. But you that is not a healthcare professional and your course is listed in the long-term shortage skill list, all you need is to do what your council or your regulatory body asks you to do. Most times all they require is 2-3 years working experience, or for you to do like a short course, a diploma course in that field, and have your NZQA assessed with your overseas qualification to the acceptable level in New Zealand, and you are good to go if you are lucky to get a job. So don't get stuck there and blackmail Juliet that because of you're not a healthcare professional that you die here in Niger, darling. You are not getting stuck there. If you want to move, we would be talking about the courses. There are not healthcare professional courses. There are a long-time shortage skill list here in New Zealand and in Australia, so that you do the needful and explore, maximize your life this year and be happy. So let's get started. I will start first with courses that are on the long-term shortage skill list in New Zealand. There are not healthcare professional related, and what you can do to explore that opportunity, either by doing a short diploma course or by doing your NZQA and applying to your own regulatory body to get started. Non-healthcare professions in demand in New Zealand as well as Australia. That's what we'll be looking at now. But for a start, I will start off with New Zealand. So here comes the New Zealand long-term shortage skill list, which is about 7 pages. So guys, let's scroll down together. So if you follow me from page 1 all the way down, you would notice that is only the 4th and part of the 5th page that is healthcare related professions. So the remaining 5 are non-healthcare occupations. So what this implies is that we all have equal opportunity once your skill or your profession is listed in this long-term shortage skill list in New Zealand. Okay, let's go through the pages now. You would notice that page 1 and half of page 2 is all about construction. So go through it and see what is required, the NZQA assessment level that you require that would make it easy for you to lodge in your visa using this advantage of your profession appearing in the long-term shortage skill list in New Zealand. And if you go to page 2 and whole of page 3, you would see engineering dominating these 2 pages, ranging from chemical engineer, civil engineers, electrical engineers, as well as their technicians, electronics engineers, as well as their technicians, and telecommunication engineers. And on the 4th page, the first and the only non-engineering profession there is procurement manager under finance and business. And if we move down to page 5, you would see IT everywhere, all the way down to half of page 6. Then you would see recreation, hospitality, tourism, and our chefs are in demand here. All these listed are not healthcare related professions. So as you can see, it's not all about healthcare courses. Once your discipline or your profession appears here, that means you have equal opportunity or even a better opportunity, because the healthcare professions or bodies, their requirements are often heightened, and the whole process tedious, taking several months or years, whereas the non-healthcare professions, most times all they need is 1 to 2 years working experience, their NZQA assessed to the acceptable level by their professional body, which most times is 7 or 8, and 1 other or 2 things registration they need to do, and they can get started off with their New Zealand dream. So going down to the sciences in page 6 all the way down to 7, you would see the requirement there, as I stated earlier on, an NZQA. So if this sounds like what you would like to explore, grab it. Now let's talk about Australia's skilled occupation list. Just a way disclaimer again, I'm not an immigration agent. I'm just sharing my living experience here in Australian continent so that I can help anyone who wish to explore the opportunity and live the best of his or her life. If he or she is not happy where he or she is currently residing. So let's get started. There are about 11 professions on this list, and only number 4, 5, 9, and 11 are healthcare professions, which accounted for 4 out of 11. What this implies is that the remaining 6 are non-healthcare professions. So I would get started with the non-healthcare professions on this list before proceeding to the healthcare professions ones. So the number 1 when it comes to the non-healthcare professions ones is accountant, and both general and management accountants are in demand. And number 2 is architect. Both landscape and qualified architects are in demand in Australia. And number 3 is engineer, which includes aeronautical engineer, biomedical engineers, civil engineers and their technicians as well, electrical engineers and draft persons, engineering managers, environmental engineers, industrial engineers, mechanical engineers, production and plant engineers, telecommunication engineers, as well as transport engineers are all in demand. And number 6 is veterinary. Number 7, surveyor. Number 8, cartographer. And number 10, chef. And that is all for it. The 6 non-healthcare professionals in demand in Australia as at the time of this video, and I'll be attaching the link in the comment section so that you have a second look and explore. So let's go over to the healthcare professions in demand in Australia, and there are about 4 of them, and we'll start with number 4. If you have a look, there's a whole list of healthcare professions included in this number 4, and I'll just read through it. You start with your biochemist, cardiologist, chemist, clinical hematologist, dermatologist, emergency medicine specialist, gastroenterologist, intensive care specialist, medical laboratory scientists, medical practitioners, neurologist, obstetrician and gynecologist, ophthalmologist, organizational psychologist, orthodontist and prothodontist, otolaryngologist, pediatricians, physiotherapists, podiatrics, psychologists, renal medical specialists, sonographers, specialized physicians, general surgeons, urologists, biomedical engineers, and all the way down to thoracic and medicine specialists and vascular surgeons. So there are heaps. These are the ones I could list. And if you go over to your number 5, you would note it's all about nursing professions. You would see the list of nursing professions in demand, and that ranges from your child and family nurse, health critical nurse, emergency, disability and rehabilitation, medical nurse, pediatric nurse, surgical nurse, aged care nurse, community health care nurse, developmental disability nurse, medical practice nurse, mental health nurse, paraoperative nurse, and registered nurse. And if you go to your number 9, I think that is your let me have a look. Number 9 is your social worker. Social workers are in demand here, and you can use that as your route of migration. If you're a social worker, I know where I'm coming from. Social workers, do they actually have relevant? I've not really seen them working in the hospital or in the community. I don't know if this has changed now. But the last on the list, which is number 11, is your pharmacist. And under the pharmacist section, we have the hospital, retail, and industrial pharmacists. They are all in demand in Australia. So guys, explore and let me know what you think or any question in the comment section. is still Juliet Chinelo, your out and about lady here in Australian continent. Anytime, any day. See you guys in my next video.